In today's video, I'm going to bring you two cases that are decades old. First, the missing persons case of Denise Wells. Denise Wells was on a trip from Haskell, Oklahoma to visit a friend in Bergen, New Jersey when she disappeared in April 1994. She had stopped at the Pike Motel in the 1100 block of Harrisburg Pike in Carlisle, Pennsylvania on April 12th. She called a girlfriend from the motel at 7 p.m. and said she was going to go grab some McDonald's, then planned to go back to her motel room and take a nap. Her friend offered to meet her at the motel and said that she would be there by around midnight. After speaking to her friend, Denise went to the front desk of the motel and asked the staff for directions to the nearest McDonald's. They saw her leave and get into her rental vehicle, a white 1993 Plymouth Acclaim with Oklahoma license plates. This is the last time anyone saw Denise. Shortly after midnight on April 13th, her friend went to the motel to meet her as planned, but there was no answer when she knocked on the door of her room. Her friend went to the front desk to get the clerk, who let her in with the master key. Denise wasn't in her room, but all of her belongings were, including her room key. Her suitcase was sitting open on the bed, with clothes laying next to it. There was a magazine and a pack of cigarettes on the bedside table, but the bed itself didn't appear to have been slept in, and there was no sign of Denise. At 5:30 a.m. that same day, Denise's rental car was found abandoned in a rural area on Route 274 in Perry County, Pennsylvania, near Tuscarora State Park. This was 35 miles from the motel, and it appeared to have stopped in its tracks in the westbound lane. The driver's and passenger side doors were wide open. The vehicle was out of gas. The hazard lights were switched on and the battery was dead. Some empty soda bottles, a pair of shoes, road maps, and some trash from a Hardee's meal were inside the car. There was a small amount of marijuana in the car, as well as other unspecified indications of criminal activity. Denise's change purse, containing a small amount of cash, was found in a nearby ditch. Authorities checked the odometer on the car and discovered it had been driven 600 to 700 miles that couldn't be accounted for. The car itself was mud-splattered and scratched, suggesting someone had driven it off-road. Around Thanksgiving in 1994, the wife of Denise's married boyfriend claimed she had heard from her. Denise allegedly called the woman and said she had gotten married and wouldn't be coming home. This story hasn't been confirmed, and police don't believe that Denise made the phone call. Denise has prior criminal convictions for forgery in South Dakota. She was unemployed and the single parent of a baby son in 1994. Her mother stated she was handling her life well and loved her child, who has since been raised by his grandparents. The family stated that it's uncharacteristic of Denise to leave without warning. Her family has had her declared legally dead. Police have not named any suspects in her case, but stated they believed some of the people they interviewed knew more than they disclosed. Foul play is suspected in her disappearance, which remains unsolved. I hope that someone will speak out if they know anything and give her family closure. Next, I'm going to tell you about the missing persons case of Gloria Suzanne Korzon. Gloria was last seen leaving her job at Horsham, Pennsylvania electronics plant on March 6, 1981. She lived with her husband, William Walter Korzon, in the 2700 block of Packertown Road in Warrington, Pennsylvania. Her brother, Ralph Kidder, stated that he had last spoken to Gloria in February 1981 when he called to tell her their mother had been hospitalized for bypass surgery. After this, Gloria's father made several calls to the Korzon residence and left messages for Gloria, but he was never able to actually talk to his daughter. Gloria's mother received a Mother's Day card signed Gloria Korzon in May of that year, but the signature was not in Gloria's handwriting, and she never used her full name in correspondence to the family. Ralph reported his sister's disappearance to police in July 1981. When police initially went to the Korzon residence to speak to William, he claimed that she had gone to visit an aunt in Florida. Gloria did have an aunt in Florida, but the person William named was not her aunt, and her real aunt had not seen her in months. She was close to her family at the time of her disappearance, and it is uncharacteristic of her to leave without warning. All of her personal belongings were left behind, including her car, her dog, her driver's license, credit cards, and thousands of dollars in her bank account. The Korzons married in Massachusetts in 1967, and their relationship was troubled. Less than a year into their marriage, William was arrested for threatening to kill Gloria, and then spent time in a Massachusetts mental hospital. In 1968, the couple moved to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and in 1971, they moved to Warrington. Warrington police responded to 8 domestic violence incidents at their home between 1976 and 1980. Gloria sought protection orders against William in 1978 and 1980, alleging he had threatened her and beaten her badly enough to break bones. But she always withdrew her complaint before they went to court. About a month before her disappearance, Gloria gave a sealed letter to her stepfather and told him not to open it unless something happened to her. After she went missing, he opened and read the letter. It was a 3-page list of assaults Gloria claimed William had inflicted on her. William later filed for divorce from Gloria on grounds of desertion. The divorce was finalized in 1987. He gave many conflicting accounts as to when he had last seen her. At one point, he claimed that she left him in January of 1980, but returned periodically until 1982 so he could change the oil in her car. Another time, he said he had given Gloria her classic 1968 Jaguar XKE at her request in 1987. William claimed to have had contact with Gloria many times after her disappearance was reported, but he was never able to prove any of the accounts. In 1986, investigators dug up the yard of his home, looking for Gloria's body. They did not find it, but the corpse of her pet dog was located. In 2019, the police questioned William again about his wife's disappearance, and when they told him what they were there for, he asked, "Did you find the body?" He admitted he had abused her for years, and that following her disappearance, he forged his wife's signature on her last paycheck, her credit union check, and her tax return, so he could access Gloria's money. He also admitted that he had signed the Mother's Day card to Gloria's mother, and he had perjured himself in 1988 in a court hearing to determine what percentage of property he was entitled to from Gloria's estate. One of the witnesses who testified before the grand jury that indicted William was his former girlfriend, Barbara Gorduck. She stated William repeatedly beat her during their relationship and once told her, "The same thing's going to happen to you that happened to Gloria." On the stand, Barbara admitted she'd previously made false statements to the police about Gloria's disappearance, that William had given her Gloria's birth certificate to put in a safe deposit box, and that she'd seen William and his late mother forging Gloria's signature. She also said William's mother regularly called his house after Gloria's disappearance, claiming to be Gloria. William was arrested and charged with criminal homicide, forgery, and perjury in Gloria's case. He was also charged with criminal solicitation to criminal homicide. In 1981, he allegedly tried to hire Samuel Culp, one of his tenants, to kill one of the detectives investigating the case. Culp also testified before the grand jury, describing William's offer. He also said there was a patch of concrete in the basement of William's home in Warrington that looked newer than the others, and that he believed this was Gloria's grave. A search of the house with ground-penetrating radar in 2018 revealed there was no body, but the foundation in the basement had been disturbed since the home was built. He is awaiting trial and told reporters that he was innocent and Gloria had left him voluntarily and moved to Florida. Gloria was declared legally dead in 1997. Her brother Ralph inherited her estate, which consisted of a $56,000 bank account. Foul play is suspected in her case due to circumstances involved. If anyone has any further information on either of these cases, please contact the FBI or submit a tip to TIPS.FBI.GOV. Thanks so much for watching my video. I pray that the families in these cases find closure. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Here's another video to check out in case you missed it, and here's a playlist of all my videos.